on, guys? I hope you're having a good week. Today we're going to be doing a simple flat repair. I've had some people go, "Hey Jason, why aren't you doing a video on flat repair?" Well, here I go. So here's my first victim here. It's a Next, and we're just going to get it a little bit higher up. I love this repair stand. It just makes my life so much easier. So on this bike, it's just a bolt-on front wheel. You may have one that's got a quick release. Either way, we need to get the wheel off. So I'm going to loosen up these nuts, lefty loosey, righty tighty. It's got the little safety tabs on here. So I'm going to give it a little wiggle. Now, what you want to do is you want to inspect the tire, and I can already tell that this tire needs to be replaced. So we're going to remove one side of the tire. So they have these little tire levers. These are little plastic levers. Personally, I like the Cool Stop. And we're going to put it underneath the bead, and we're going to see if I can easily slide it around, which I do. That removes one side of the tire. I'm going to go to the valve. I'm going to remove the tube. Now, I'm paying attention. I'm keeping the wheel. I put the wheel down, but I didn't turn it around. I left it the same. I am not turning the tube around. I'm going to now put some air in the tube. I hear a big hole in this. So while I'm putting air in here, I'm just feeling around. And I've found the hole. And what we're doing here is we're inspecting the tube to see where the hole is. Well, the hole is right here on the inside, and this one is right at the seam of the tube. Now, if it wasn't at the seam, if the seam hadn't failed, I would be looking to see where there's a hole in the tire. Or I should say tube, sorry. And once I find where the hole is in the tube, I'm going to go to the tire, and in this case, the hole is located about 1/3 of the way around the tube. So I'm going to get this tube. I've kept track of where that hole is. I'm going to put the valve right where the hole is, and I'm going to go around right to where the hole is, and I'm going to inspect the rim strip just to make sure that it's fine. And yeah, sure enough, there's nothing here. The tube did fail, and just as a precaution, I'm going to inspect the tire. Now again, if you find a hole in the tube on the outer part of the tube, that means that something has punctured the tire. So what you do is you feel the inside of the tire, and while I'm doing this, I'm inspecting the outside of the tire. Because if I'm running my fingers through this tire and I see a big chunk of glass sticking through there, you might not want to run your fingers across that glass because it will cut you. Same thing as, if you see a nail or a tack, then you may want to be a little cautious so you don't slice your finger open. Unfortunately, I have sliced my finger open a couple of times, And it's been a good long time since I've done that, because I did learn to keep an eye on the tire as I was feeling around, and there's nothing there. I'm going to look at the rim strip all the way around. The rim strip is what covers the spokes. If you don't have a rubber or cloth rim strip, then you may need to replace that rim strip. Now, in a pinch, I'm not suggesting this, but in a pinch you could use electrical tape, but you need to do several layers of the electrical tape. And the problem is with electrical tape, over time it does get a little gooey, and you will end up going through like a whole roll of electrical tape, it seems like. I guess it depends on how big the roll is. Okay? The tire has been inspected. The rim has been inspected. Let's put that new tube in. Now, if you're trying to figure out what size tube it is, be sure to look at the side of the tire. And in this case, right here, it says 26 by 2.125. I have a tube right here that says 26 by 1.95 through 2.125. That's going to work. And I hear a little bit of debris inside the tire, so I'm just going to shake it up and down a little bit, and a little bit of an angle, get that dirt out. Alright, the next step is to put a little bit of air in the tube just until it starts getting round. You don't want to inflate it too much, because then it's going to make it difficult to put inside of the tire. I'm just putting a little bit of air in here until it starts getting round. And we'll just hang that right there for now. We're going to put the tube in valve first. I'm pushing the tire over, and I'm exposing the valve hole. You might not have been able to see it right there, but I'm putting in the valve first. I'm pulling the tire over the tube, and then I'm going to be putting the tube in. Here, let's see if we can angle this down a little bit more. Okay, so now you can see my messy floor. We're putting the tube into the tire, making sure that we don't twist it. Okay, and then I'm going to start at the valve. I'm going to push the tire onto the rim, and then we're going to be going all the way around. Okay, that was easy. Since it was so easy, that means that the tire is susceptible to coming off. So I'm going to put some air in, and I'm going to be just putting some in, and I'm inspecting the tire to make sure that it's looking even all the way around. Now you need to be inspecting both sides, and if you see some of the tire coming off, you need to push that in. You need, any places that you see it going in, you need to pull it out. Now, there is something I forgot to mention. Now, this tire doesn't really apply, but after you get the tube put in, it's always kind of nice to push the valve in and then pull it out again. See, right around the valve, that's where the thickest rubber is, and sometimes it gets caught underneath the tire. This rim is so wide and the tire is so big that we don't have that problem. But if you're working with a hybrid or a road bike or even some BMX bikes, then what happens is if that tube is a little bit underneath the tire, it can push up on the tire and cause the tire to get a lump in it, or it could just blow it right off. And I'm going to tell you, I've been driving down the road before, and I have had a tube pop while I was driving down the road and the bike was inside the car. It sounded like somebody shot a shotgun right inside my car, and it was not pleasant. So we're inspecting the valve. The valve is good and straight. The tire is looking like it's on there good. We can get it put back on the bike. That was easy. Alright, let's get this valve cap put back on. And then I'm a little OCD. I like to look at the writing on the rims or the reflectors that are on the bike, and I like to get the reflectors the same direction. So let's get this installed. We're going to put it into the dropout. We're going to put these little safety tabs. This has some little hooks on the axle, and you have these little holes inside the fork, so you want to put the hook into the fork. And then tighten the nut down some. We're going to tighten one side a little bit. If we start seeing the axle turn, then we're going to stop. And this whole time I'm pulling or pushing up on the rim. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit more, or I'm going to tighten the other side a little bit more. And at this point, since this is up in the air and I don't have it down on the ground, I'm going to now loosen this other side, and I'm going to physically pull the rim over to ensure that it's all the way into the dropout. Now I'm going to loosen this one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm pulling the rim over, and I'm going to tighten this back down. And I'm going to tighten this side a little bit more. I'm keeping an eye on the axle to make sure it's not spinning. If the axle starts turning, what happens is the wheel might not stay in place. It might go a little crooked, and if you've got brakes, little hand brakes, then that can cause some issues there. So we're going to tighten a little bit more on that side. We're going to tighten a little bit more on that side, and you go back and forth, and this is to help ensure that the axle doesn't spin. And that's it. Well, I hope that this video helps some of y'all out, and please check some of our other videos out just over here, and please subscribe up here, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.